Hi everyone, welcome back to our lesson. Today we are speaking about negative numbers. In the last lesson we did together, we finished up reviewing worksheets 1 to 5. We didn't manage to finish worksheet 5, but that is a chance for you guys to try it on your own and see if you can solve your own problems by using your textbook. You can use YouTube, you can use my videos, and you can use any kind of help you need. Okay, so just try to figure it out yourself. Okay, here we go. Negative numbers. Today, before we get started, make sure you've got all your pens, all your paper, anything you need. For perfect notes, we want amazing notes so that you'll never forget the work. Okay, make sure that you are away from the TV, you're away from any toys that you have. Make sure you've got some water, you're comfortable, and you're ready to focus. Okay, no distractions. Distractions are things that take away your concentration. Okay, so let's get started. As you know, we've been speaking about whole numbers all the time. We go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 all the way into infinity. Okay, but there are numbers smaller than 1. These are numbers smaller than 1. Okay, and all of these numbers that we can see, all these whole numbers we've been speaking about are to the right of 0. Okay, what do we have to the left of 0? What do we have? Do you think the numbers to the left of 0 are big numbers or very small numbers? What do you think? Okay, here we go. As we know, we've got negative numbers on the left hand side of 0. Okay, so as you can see, if I were to split the screen, it looks like it's just a mirror image of each other. It's almost like a reflection, right? Like, do you guys remember reflective symmetry? It's the same here, where 0 is the fold and all the other numbers match perfectly, just the opposite sign. Okay, so here I've got 1 on the opposite side, I've got negative 1. I've got positive 2 on the opposite side, I've got a negative 2. On the opposite side, I've got a 3, I've got a negative 3, and so on. So it's like a mirror image. When you look at yourself in the mirror, everything is almost the same, and it's the same with these numbers. It's got reflective symmetry, doesn't it? Okay, so besides that, we have all of these numbers. When we add them all up, we add all the positives, we add all the negatives, we add the 0, we put them all together. We're speaking about integers. Okay, so integers are all the numbers, the positive numbers, the 0, and the negative numbers. Okay, those are all integers. I'm not going to ask you in a test, what do you call all the numbers, the positive and the negative and the 0? I'm not going to ask you that in a test, but just in case you want to know, all these are integers. Okay, so sometimes maybe if you're doing some extra practice, maybe you like to do some maths, and you found a worksheet online, and it says write down the correct integer. Well, now you know it's the number on the number line. Okay, here we go. The only difference between positive numbers and negative numbers is the minus sign in front of them, the minus sign or the negative sign. Okay, so if I want to, I can do a plus on all of these numbers. I can write plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 100, plus 1,000 million. Okay, plus 1,000, plus 1,000,000. All of that I can do. But to save us some time, just to save us some time, it's going to take forever if we have to do that. We know that if a number has no sign, that means positive. But when it does have a sign and it's negative, we know that's a negative number. Okay. So, I think everybody now knows what negative numbers are. Okay? If you don't know what negative numbers are, rewind, go back to the start, and listen again. Okay. One more time. Let's go back to all these numbers on the number line. We've got On the right hand side of the 0, we've got whole numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. On the other side, we've got negative numbers that are smaller than 0, and they continue in that direction the further left you go. Okay, it's like a mirror image of itself, this number line. It's got reflective symmetry. Okay, we're just going to throw that word in there because you guys remember that from last year. Okay, and negative numbers have a minus sign in front of the number. Okay, I think we're all up to date now. We don't have to write +1. We know 1 means +1. 1 equals +1. It's the same. We don't have to write it to save us some time. Okay. Right. Now, ask yourself these two questions. Do you know what negative numbers are now? And do you know what integers are? Okay, if you think, yes, I know that what a negative number is, then we are ready to move on. Do you know what integers are? If you do, then let's move on. Okay, now we're going to compare. We're going to compare numbers. You all know that in maths, when we speak about compare, it just means which number is bigger, which number is smaller. That's all. Okay, and it's not about the size. And look at this number 3. It's it's a big number 3. And this number 9 over here is a tiny one. It's a small number 9. That's not what we're speaking about. We're not speaking about the size of the number. We're speaking about the value of the number. Okay, so it's very important that you know your values. Okay, here we go. How do we compare numbers in maths? Well, we use the 3 symbols. It's either more than, less than, or equal to. Right? I think we all know that. That's super easy. And you all know how to do that with positive numbers, don't you? Positive numbers are so easy. Which is bigger? Is 2 bigger than 9 or is 9 bigger than 2? Super easy. But what if we have to do the same thing with negative numbers? Now, just a reminder, when you move to the right, the numbers get bigger. When you move to the left, the numbers get smaller. Okay, let's use an example. If I go from 9 to 8, I'm going in that, and I'm going in this direction. So the numbers are smaller. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, -2. On it goes, right? When I move to the right-hand side, the numbers get bigger. -5 is bigger than -6. Okay, so here we go. We go bigger, we go bigger, we go bigger, we go bigger. And you can see how confusing it gets because you know number 1 is a small value. You know 1 is really small. But -1 is way bigger than -10. Okay, so just keep in mind the direction that you're moving in. If you're ever confused, use a number line. Number lines are your friend. Number lines are your friend. Okay, here we go. Now you would say, why do we even need to use negative numbers? Why? Okay, let's have some real life examples. Okay, what is this over here? What do you think? Where have you ever seen these buttons? What do you think -1 is? What do you think -2 is? Okay, so usually when we move up, we can say what level we want to in the elevator or in the lift, right? But -1 and -2 would be examples of going down. You're going into the basement. Okay, so that's where we would use negative numbers maybe. Over here, what do you think's happening here? We've got 1025 over here, and it's a height. It's the height of a mountain. So we're at 1025 meters above sea level. So the sea level is like 0, and 1025 is how tall that mountain is. So how tall that mountain is, and it's above sea level, so it's positive. Okay, so it goes up. And then down, we've got a little, maybe a little, kind of like an ocean. And here it is 155 meters below sea level. Okay, so we can see that it's quite deep, and it's minus because it's below. It's under the sea level. Okay, so that's 2 examples over there, right? Here we have a third example. We've got a guy, he's on his table and there's a big $sign on his back. Okay, what do you think that means? Okay, if you have lots and lots and lots and lots of money in the bank, you'll have a positive value. You'll have a positive number. But on the other hand, you could also have a negative amount. You could have a minus amount in your bank balance. Why do you think that is? Okay, maybe you've spent way too much and now you owe money to somebody else. You have to pay someone else. That would mean that your bank balance would be a negative value. Okay, I hope everyone is happy with that. I've got 3 examples for you. One more though. This one is more relevant for today. Temperature, right? Everywhere we go now, we have to have our temperature taken to make sure that we're okay, right? Well, so do we do that when we are also calculating or checking, not calculating, but checking the temperature of not only our bodies, but the weather as well. So here we have somebody, it's very, very cold where he is. It looks like it's about minus 15 degrees. Okay, so time to practice. Everything you now know about negative numbers, we're going to put into practice. Okay, so let's see. It says learning objective. Use a number line. So always remember, number lines are your friend. Use a number line to compare the size of positive and negative numbers. Okay, so we have to use these 2 symbols, more than or less than, to complete the statements. Here we go. Negative 5 and 2. What do you think? Is it more than or less than? Okay, so 2 over here, minus 5 over here. Use the symbols to tell me whether negative 10 is bigger than or smaller than 11, negative 3 and 3. Here we have an example to help you, and it says numbers get bigger when you go that way, numbers get smaller when you go to the left. Okay, so that helps me, right? You need to remember that. And then over here it says compare the following sets of temperatures by stating whether it became hotter or cooler by how many degrees. Okay, so here you need to tell me if it goes from negative 5 to 2. Is it hotter or cooler? Cooler means getting colder. Hotter, the temperature is increasing. Okay, so for D to I, just write, is it more, is it hotter, or is it cooler? Okay, you don't have to say by how much just yet. Okay, so everyone, please have your pencils ready. I'm going to give you some time, or just pause the screen and pause right now and try to do A to I. Okay, here we are. We're in the drawing app again. We are just going to be filling in the blanks. So your job was to pause the video, try to do A to I based on what we were speaking about beforehand, and here we go. We're going to do it now together. So all you should be doing is ticking yes or no. Okay, so I can't use yellow because that's not a good color to use. I'm going to use red. So negative 5 is over here. I'm going to make a small X over there. We know that if we go to that way, the numbers get bigger, and 2 is that way, so that would mean that negative 5 is less than. Okay, this is a bit too thick. My pencil is a bit too thick. Okay, so I'm going to take this away over here, all the way from there. Go to there. And we know now that negative 5 is less than 2. Okay, now it's easy. We know negative 10 over here, and 11 all the way over here. When we move this way, the numbers get bigger. Should I write that over here so that we know? And finally, well, all of these answers are the same. Okay, so what do you think? Hotter or cooler? We're going that way, so it must be getting warmer. So I'm going to write hotter. I'm just put a H for hot. Now we go from 7. So we go from 7. We're over here. We're at 7. We're going to go from 7 to minus 1. We're going to minus 1 over here. We're moving that way, so it's the opposite of bigger. I just want to get rid of all the stuff I just did. It's a bit too much. There we go. Okay, so this one here would be cooler. I'll just write cooler. There we go. From negative 1 to 8, that's hotter. From negative 11 to negative 4. Okay, so this is minus 4. So minus 11 over here. Minus 11 is here. Minus 4 is here. Right? We go from here to here. See that arrow? That means bigger, so hotter. We go from minus 14. We minus 14 over here. 12 is all the way there, so that's an easy one. Hotter. And this one as well, hotter. Okay, so there we go. Those were your answers. I hope you had the same answers as I did. That was a very, very easy worksheet. So if you got everything correctly, then very, very, very well done for your homework. I don't want to give you too much because I've decided that this time I really want everyone to understand negative numbers. So we're going to do it very, very slowly. All we did today was compare and order. All we did today was compare and kind of order. Okay, so you are going to be using your workbooks and only your textbook. Sorry, you are only using your textbook for today, and I'll show you. It is on page 13. So what you need to do is read. You need to read. For the first time I'm giving you homework, you need to read. Read all of this information. Okay. The thermometers below show the temperature readings of Taipei over 3 days. So here we go. Monday, it was 19 degrees. Tuesday, it looks like -1. And on Wednesday, it was -2. So mine might not be the same as yours. I don't think we have the same book. But there are 2 try this activities. 2 activities called try this on page 14 that you can try. So that's compare and order. And then on the next one, these are number sequences that you can do. And that's basically order, but with a pattern. So you can try this on your own. Okay? That is all. And if you really want to, you don't want to stop working, here is some extra practice for you. Try A to F. You just put them in order from small to big. And that's today's lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to add and subtract negative numbers. Put them together. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye, everyone.